Welcome to Understand All. I'm your host, Aslakir Gerleaf, and today we're embarking on a fascinating journey into the world of nicotine receptors. Now, you might be thinking, why should I care about some tiny molecular switches in my brain? Well, buckle up, because the story of these receptors is a tale of evolution, addiction, and the very nature of our humanity. First, let's get acquainted with our star player, nicotinic acetylcholine receptors, or NACHRs for short. These little guys are like the traffic controllers of your brain, regulating the flow of information between neurons. They've been around for millions of years, long before humans ever walked the earth. In fact, insects have them too, which raises the question, why do we have these receptors in the first place? To answer that, we need to take a trip back in time. Imagine, if you will, a world where plants and insects are locked in an evolutionary arms race. The plants, in a bid to protect themselves, develop natural insecticides like nicotine. And the insects, not to be outdone, evolve receptors that can detect and neutralize these toxins. It's a classic tale of adaptation and survival. But here's the plot twist. Fast forward a few million years, and those same receptors that were meant to protect us are now being exploited by a plant that's taken over the world: tobacco. You see, when nicotine binds to these receptors, it's like hijacking the brain's reward system. Dopamine, the feel-good neurotransmitter, floods the circuits, reinforcing the behavior and creating a vicious cycle of addiction. According to the National Institute on Drug Abuse, nicotine increases dopamine release by up to 25-40%, and the cost of this addiction is staggering. The Centers for Disease Control and Prevention report that smoking is responsible for more than 480,000 deaths per year in the United States alone. That's like losing the entire population of Sacramento every single year to a preventable cause. But here's where the story gets even more intriguing. Not everyone is equally susceptible to nicotine's grip. Research published in Nature Genetics has shown that variations in a gene called CHRNA5, which codes for a part of the nicotine receptor, can make some people more likely to become addicted than others. It's a fascinating example of how our genes interact with our environment to shape our behavior, but it also raises some thorny questions. If addiction is written into our DNA, how much control do we really have? And if nicotine receptors are so easily exploited, what does that say about the vulnerabilities of our brain's reward system? These are the kinds of questions that keep scientists up at night. Because the story of nicotine receptors isn't just about smoking. It's a window into the very workings of our minds. It's a reminder that the same systems that allow us to learn, to feel pleasure, to form habits, are also the ones that can lead us down a path of self-destruction. But here's the good news. By understanding these systems, we can start to find ways to protect ourselves. Already, researchers are exploring how nicotine receptors could be targeted for therapeutic uses, from enhancing cognitive function to treating neurological disorders. It's a promising field, but one that requires careful navigation of the ethical quandaries involved. And that brings us to the crux of the matter. The story of nicotine receptors is, at its heart, a very human story. It's a tale of how our biology shapes our behavior, for better or worse. It's a reminder that we are the products of millions of years of evolution, but also that we have the power to shape our own destinies. So what can we take away from all this? First and foremost, a respect for the complexity of our own minds. We are not simple creatures, and our behaviors are not always within our conscious control. Understanding this can lead to a more compassionate view of addiction and a more nuanced approach to addressing it. Second, an appreciation for the power of scientific inquiry. By studying the intricate workings of the brain, we gain insights that can improve and even save lives. It's a reminder of the importance of supporting and investing in research, even when the applications may not be immediately clear. And finally, a sense of humility in the face of our own biology. We are the products of a long and winding evolutionary path, one that has left us with both incredible abilities and profound vulnerabilities. Navigating this path requires wisdom, empathy, and a willingness to confront uncomfortable truths. So the next time you hear about nicotine receptors, don't just think of them as some obscure biological trivia. Think of them as a mirror, reflecting back to us the very essence of what it means to be human. The good, the bad, and the endlessly fascinating. And that's our deep dive into the world of nicotine receptors. I hope this journey has been as eye-opening for you as it has been for me. Remember, science isn't just about facts and figures. It's about the stories that connect us all. So stay curious, keep asking questions, and never stop exploring the wonders of the world around and within us. Until next time, this is Aslakir Gareleaf for Understand All. Thanks for listening.